So in this video, there's going to be a lot to talk about regarding the United States regulatory agencies and cryptocurrencies. And in this video, I'm going to go over a series of tweets that Ron Hammond, the Director of Government Relations at Blockchain Association, laid out as to what the United States government is going to be doing when they're talking to fintech and cryptocurrency CEOs. I'm going to tell you some of the things that they have some questions on and whether or not we should be concerned. Because there is another issue that just came up, and this one specifically about Cardano. I'm going to tell you why Cardano is actually in danger of having the same thing happen to it as Ripple just did. And of course, all eyes are on Bitcoin right now as it's in the midst of this bull run, or maybe not, as people are looking for it to bounce off of a local bottom trend line to finally start its upward climb into December, like many people actually thought this was going to happen weeks ago. So I'm going to tell you what my prediction said, what other people's predictions said, and what it's actually doing right now. Because just earlier today, it moved up nearly $5,000 in one day. But I'm going to tell you why it might not make a difference. I also have some quick updates on some of the tokens that I mentioned in some of my previous videos last week. I'm going to tell you how they're doing right now and what prices they're at. And some, albeit very little information, about the Ripple versus the SEC case, because there's a very important date coming up and I'm going to tell you about it in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification icon. That way YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you feel so generous, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash that thumbs up button. And number two, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the two best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. First thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin. Right now, the price is right around $57,500 or so, and it had climbed about $5,000 in just one day. It had wicked down to about $53,300 before bouncing straight up. It went parabolic for several hours today. And what a lot of people are now questioning is, was that the bottom or the local bottom before Bitcoin has its big push up into December? Which is what a lot of people have been thinking. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, I put out a tweet that basically said, based on some of the technical analysis that I watch, I think about 50,500 is a support trend line which Bitcoin is probably going to bounce off of before it continues a parabolic climb. As I put it, fireworks. Well, it didn't quite get there. It got to 53.3 and it did it on the date that I predicted, but it came up a little bit short. And after getting up to 57,000, I thought maybe it's a little bit too high for it to actually pull back and hit that 50 or 51,000 number before going parabolic again. Well, as somebody on Twitter just reminded me, it hasn't broken any trend lines yet, and that 50 to 51 could still be in play. Now, the reason I said that is because I was looking back at last year's Thanksgiving date, what actually happened last Thanksgiving and the days that followed, and thought something similar might happen. And something similar did happen, but just not to the extent that I thought. So we still might have a couple more days until Bitcoin's either going to reach that 51,000 and go skyward, or it's just not going to do it at all and continue this Wyckoff accumulation theory that's playing out on kind of the minute chart before it actually continues to climb. Or if you're CNBC, you're now putting out headlines out there that are claiming Bitcoin is now in a bear market. Yes, that's right. A couple of days ago, CNBC put out a headline that said because of a new variant that was discovered, Bitcoin is now in a bear market. Don't read the tabloids, kids. It'll rot your brain. Now, Plan B on Twitter was talking about the fact that he had predicted 98,000 for Bitcoin in November. It doesn't look like it's exactly going to hit that. It only has about 2 more days to do so. And he was talking about this being essentially a black swan event. Is this the first time in Bitcoin's 10-year history that those numbers didn't hit what the predictors said it would? Doesn't mean it's going to be invalidated completely. As he said, the stock to flow model is at some point going to be invalidated, but also suggested that some of his others, like the floor model and the stock to flow X model, are still very much in play. And if you watch my previous video when I talked about how TechDev was comparing this to the 1971 gold rally, it is still very much attached to that chart. And if you don't know what that means, go ahead and check out my previous video where I talk about Bitcoin being attached to the 1971 gold rally and them making some Bitcoin and some people making some big Bitcoin predictions based on what gold did in 1971 and why. So go check out that video after this one. And now a quick update on some coins and some tokens that I mentioned in some of my previous videos, some ones that were making some headline news. The number one is actually the CRO token, which is the Crypto.com token. Now, the reason I mention it is because they've been going and spending tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, doing all kinds of brand deals, stadium naming rights, doing all kinds of sponsorships with athletes in order to get their name out there. Well, since they did that, at one point, they were actually trading for about 21 cents about a month ago, as little as 35 cents last week before some of the announcements on some huge sponsorship deals came out. They went pretty much parabolic up to 96 cents. And right now it's trading for about 76 cents and still climbing. Sand, which is a virtual world gaming token that's actually been around but is now starting to climb as it's getting more and more interest because of the whole Metaverse talk. Well, in the last 30 days, it went from about $1.50 to now trading at $7.50. And Mana, which is another decentralized world known as Decentraland, has also been trending well. Previously, a couple of weeks ago, was trading for about 75 cents, is now up over $5. And another update on Cardano, and this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, talking about what the United States regulatory agencies are doing. And this is going to be a little more conspiratorial, but you got to follow me on this one. So if you've been following this channel or other XRP channels, a lot of the things we talk about in the Ripple versus the SEC case have to do with Ethereum because of all the backstories and all the meetings, all the videos that have surfaced on Twitter of former SEC chairs, Gary Gensler, William Hinman, among other legal firms and asset management firms involved in essentially giving Ethereum a free pass. We're essentially protecting them while then turning around and going after its biggest competitor, which is Ripple. Then you're no stranger to this kind of story. Because just the other day it was announced that eToro, which is a fairly big exchange, not the biggest in the world, but a sizable one. Most people in the crypto space know who eToro is. They've announced that on December 26th, they're going to be delisting Cardano. And they've made no mention as to exactly why. Now, of course, there's huge speculation. And in fact, I'm going to link a video of Charles Hoskinson, who is the founder of Cardano. It's on Twitter, and he basically takes it against the United States regulators and calling out people who don't support a level playing field in the crypto space. You can go check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. It is a very eye-opening video. But if you're an XRP holder or you've been following this Ripple case, then you're no stranger to those kinds of things. So why would eToro delist Cardano? What did they do? Well, the conspiracy theory is, well, maybe it's a security, and eToro is afraid that they're going to list Cardano as a security, and they're going to be delisted from everything, everywhere anyway. Well, Jeremy Hogan, who is an outside attorney following the Ripple versus the SEC case, he actually commented on this, and he basically said, because I've been covering this, and I've been seeing all the Ethereum free pass talk, and watching all these videos, seeing how they essentially went after Ethereum's next biggest competitor in the cryptocurrency space, it only makes sense that they would go after Ethereum's biggest competitor, dubbed the Ethereum killer, which is Cardano, because it's a similar ecosystem. So is there potentially something coming down the pike from the SEC or maybe other regulatory bodies that are specifically going after Cardano because they were going to give Ethereum a run for their money? That's where the conspiracy theories come in, but a lot of the stuff lines up. And if you look at the price charts, Cardano is not doing so hot right now. Speaking of United States regulatory bodies and cryptocurrencies, I'm going to read a series of tweets that was actually laid out by Ron Hammond, who works for a blockchain association. He's actually the director of government relations. And in this, he lays out a series of tweets about what the United States government wants to talk to these fintech and cryptocurrency company CEOs and what topics they want to talk about and why it's a little bit concerning. Now, he actually tweeted this out several days ago, but it's kind of concerning, so here it goes. He said, this week in Congress and crypto, it's official on December 8th, which is coming up, several crypto CEOs will testify in front of the House Financial Services Committee. This is a big hearing, and it will cover a variety of topics. A quick thread of the kind of discussions we're going to be getting here in DC. As a caveat, these points of concern are coming from both sides of the aisle. Some are based on a misunderstanding of the issues, while others are fact-based. This is meant to give a baseline understanding of what we're experiencing on the ground in DC, not to say who is right or wrong. So first up, stablecoins. This has been a dominant crypto policy issue for the past few months. The PWG report highlighted many concerns regarding stablecoin issuers. The Hill is currently grappling with the following. Are they bank deposits or not? And will they cause a bank run? Second is DeFi. Notice many detractors always lead with so-called decentralized finance. The sector itself is very complex, and anyone on the Hill is trying to get a better understanding of the issues. Detractors, though, are raising alarm in DC that DeFi is a concern. And this is a fun one. Third is Twitter, and unfortunately the rising prominence in our meetings. What if that has anything to do with Ripple versus the SEC? DC has learned that the best way to understand crypto is to go to Twitter. Interesting. However, many things that C-suite executives and influencers say on Twitter are viewed as vitriolic or condescending to DC audiences. Yeah, that makes sense. Fourth is climate. This is an interesting one. This is a major policy priority for the administration, but both sides of the aisle have expressed concern about the stories in the media that they read about Bitcoin's climate impact. Headlines matter, and even those in DC new to crypto are keenly aware of those issues. Fifth is, of course, use cases. Simply saying this helps the unbanked without providing real, fully functional examples does more harm than good. A recent trend, though, is to policymakers asking how this helps their constituents rather than other countries. Focus on arguments on helping the USA. Sixth is gas fees. The issue is growing as detractors point to the high fluctuation in prices. Typically, these arguments are focused on the lack of transparency to consumers and the ability of wealthier investors to skip the line. DC is still learning, but critics are alarmed. And we'll see the line of questioning that comes along with that one. I'm really interested to see that. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of champions for crypto in DC, but if we're hoping to appeal to a broader audience, then it's important to see what detractors and those on the fence are asking. This hearing will be a full committee hearing, so expect a wide range of expertise. So this is going to be coming up on December 8th. I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on what comes of that. And speaking of the Ripple versus the SEC case, coming up on December 6th is the newest deadline for which the SEC has to report back to Judge Knepper and exactly how they feel that sales contracts of XRP constitute an expectation of profits. Can't wait to hear what they have to say about that. So let me know in the comment section below what you think is going to happen, A, with this Bitcoin run. Are we going to see a dip back to 50,000 before a parabolic run-up? Are we even going to see a parabolic run-up? And let me know what you think that the United States regulators should do about cryptocurrencies. If you have an opinion on that, please let it be known in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Also, follow me on Twitter. Go ahead and look in the description below. There's a couple of things that you can follow. Number one, I will link to that Twitter thread by Ron Hammond, so you can read all of the different responses. It's a very, very interesting thread. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end and for giving it a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.